In the art world, there's perhaps no mystery more enduring than the fate of a lost masterpiece by Leonardo da Vinci, the greatest mind of the Renaissance. It was an immense unfinished mural known as the Battle of Anghiari. For centuries, it's been assumed the work was destroyed, painted over, or simply faded away long ago. Now, after 3 decades of battling skepticism and bureaucratic resistance, an art detective named Maurizio Saracini believes he's close to solving the Leonardo mystery.
In the shadowy world of missing masterpieces, one name haunts art historians, treasure hunters, and law enforcement agencies more than any other: Leonardo da Vinci. While the Renaissance genius created fewer than 20 authenticated paintings that survive today, several of his documented works have vanished without a trace, leaving behind only tantalizing clues, copies, and an insatiable hunger for discovery that has consumed investigators for centuries. Among these lost treasures, one painting stands above all others in terms of mystery, value, and the relentless pursuit that continues to this day. A quest that has taken searchers from Swiss dealers to Saudi palaces, from war-torn Europe to underground criminal networks. This story isn't just about a missing painting, it's about the dangerous intersection of art, politics, money, and power. The battle for recognition.
The Battle of Anghiari is on another wall, a hidden wall.
Correct. It's in between 2 walls, covered by Vasari, but leaving a small gap.
The gap appeared on one of Saracini's radar scans. You can see it here in red.
At the heart of Florence's Palazzo Vecchio lies one of art history's greatest mysteries, the Battle of Anghiari, a fresco that Leonardo da Vinci was commissioned to paint in 1503 to commemorate Florence's victory over Milan in 1440. This monumental work, intended to cover an entire wall of the Hall of the 500, has become the stuff of legend, precisely because its existence remains hotly disputed. Maurizio Saracini, an Italian expert in high-technology art analysis, has spent decades convinced that Leonardo's lost fresco lies hidden behind Giorgio Vasari's later painting, The Battle of Marciano, on the same wall. Saracini's obsession began in the mid-70s when he noticed Vasari had inscribed the cryptic message "Cerca trova," seek and you shall find, on his battle scene. This wasn't mere artistic flourish. Saracini believed it was Vasari's coded message, revealing he had preserved Leonardo's work rather than destroying it. In 2011, Saracini's team received permission to drill small holes into Vasari's fresco and discovered black pigment behind the wall that matched materials used in the Mona Lisa and St. John the Baptist. The discovery seemed to validate years of research, but the euphoria was short-lived. Public outcry over the potential damage to Vasari's work forced authorities to halt the investigation indefinitely in 2012. But art historians Roberta Barsanti, Gianluca Belli, Emanuela Ferretti, and Cecilia Frossinini have challenged Saracini's theory entirely, presenting evidence at October 2020 meetings that Leonardo never actually completed his creation. Their technical analyses support claims that the painting doesn't exist behind the wall because it never existed at all, that Leonardo's experimental techniques failed so catastrophically that he abandoned the project entirely. The debate has created a fascinating paradox. The most famous lost Leonardo might never have been painted in the first place, yet copies by Peter Paul Rubens and others survive, suggesting that at least cartoons and preparatory work existed. Whether hidden behind a Renaissance wall or lost to history's dustbin, the Battle of Anghiari continues to tantalize those who believe in the possibility of discovering the impossible. The Vanished Venus. While the Battle of Anghiari may never have existed as a completed painting, Leda and the Swan definitely did, and its disappearance represents one of the most tragic losses in art history. Leonardo worked on 2 different compositions of this mythological subject between 1503 and 1510, finally completing a masterpiece that depicted the standing figure of Leda embracing the swan with her newly hatched children playing at her feet. The painting was documented in extraordinary detail by Cassiano del Pozzo during his visit to the French royal collection at Fontainebleau in 1625. His description paints a vivid picture of Leonardo's lost masterpiece. Quote, "A standing figure of Leda, almost entirely naked, with the swan at her and 2 eggs, from whose broken shells come forth 4 babies." This work, although somewhat dry in style, is exquisitely finished, especially in the woman's breast, and for the rest of the landscape and the plant life are rendered with the greatest diligence. Tragically, Del Pozzo also noted the painting's deteriorating condition. explaining it was, quote, in a bad state because it is done on 3 long panels which have split apart and broken off a certain amount of paint. The work remained in the Fontainebleau inventory until 1692, after which all traces vanished. By the 18th century, the artwork was completely lost to history. What makes this loss particularly heartbreaking is the survival of Leonardo's preparatory drawings and multiple copies by his students. The Uffizi, Galleria Borghese, and Wilton House each possess versions considered among the closest to Leonardo's original conception. These copies reveal Leonardo's scientific fascination with botany and anatomy, showing intricate details of plant life and the complex interplay of human and animal forms. Some experts believe Leda and the Swan may have been deliberately destroyed by a prudish collector, as happened to many works featuring nudity. Others hold hope that it could resurface from a private collection, perhaps one disrupted by World War II upheavals. The $450 million question. No discussion of missing Da Vinci masterpieces would be complete without addressing Salvator Mundi, which holds the distinction of being both found and lost again within the span of a few decades. The painting's odyssey from a $45 purchase in 1958 to a record-breaking $450 million sale in 2017 reads like a modern treasure hunt, but its current disappearance has created an entirely new mystery. The painting's dramatic rediscovery began in 2005 when art dealers purchased it for just $1,175 at a New Orleans estate sale, recognizing it might be more than the heavily overpainted work it appeared to be. After extensive restoration by Diane Dwyer Modestini revealed the hand of a master beneath centuries of damage, Salvator Mundi was authenticated by leading scholars and exhibited at the National Gallery in London in 2011-2012. But the painting's attribution remains fiercely contested. Critics argue that the work's stiff composition, unconvincing crystal orb, and extensive restoration make definitive attribution impossible. Frank Zollner, a leading Leonardo scholar, controversially stated that parts of the painting are, quote, by pupils, while other sections represent a masterpiece by Diane Modestini, the restorer, rather than Da Vinci himself. Despite these controversies, Prince Badr bin Abdullah Al Saud, bidding on behalf of Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, purchased the work for a record $450.3 million at Christie's in November 2017. Since then, Salvator Mundi has vanished from public view, reportedly stored in Saudi Arabia. The painting's disappearance has sparked wild speculation. Plans to display it at both the Louvre Abu Dhabi and the Louvre in Paris were mysteriously cancelled without explanation. Martin Kemp, a Leonardo expert, was reportedly invited to inspect the painting in Saudi Arabia, confirming its presence there, but no public viewing opportunities have materialized. World War II's shadow. World War II created an unprecedented crisis for European art collections, and Leonardo's works were among the most coveted prizes for Nazi looters. The systematic theft of Europe's cultural heritage by Hitler's regime targeted Da Vinci paintings specifically. Lady with an Ermine, one of Leonardo's most celebrated portraits, fell into Nazi hands in 1939. The painting was seized by Hans Frank, Governor-General of occupied Poland and Hitler's personal lawyer, who hung it in his office at Wawel Castle. The painting's survival was nothing short of miraculous. Frank had planned to include it in Hitler's Dream Führer Museum in Linz, Austria, but the war's end prevented this cultural catastrophe. American forces, working with the Monuments, Fine Arts, and Archives program, the famous Monuments Men, recovered Lady with an Ermine, along with thousands of other looted artworks from hidden repositories across Europe. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think we'll find more Leonardo da Vinci paintings? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below.